Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Guiding you throughout our Florida regions, like always, is myself, Brie Gabrielle, and Captain Rick Murphy. Rick, I am so excited for tonight because the species of this week is probably the best fish to eat.
You're right about that, Brie.
It's packed with protein and rhymes with Luna. Yep, that's right. We're talking about tuna. Do you like that?
I like it. All right.
And Mr. Dave is at the Jägermeister workbench. Are you excited?
She just rhymed Luna and tuna, didn't she?
Yes, I did.
How did she
My
do
mouth,
that?
she didn't do that.
I know, we're excited.
We got some tunas tonight, though.
Yes, we do. Rick, why don't you tell us a little more about some tunas?
Well, Brie, as you can tell by the mount there from King Sailfish Mounts, the one thing that's so great about the blackfin tunas as well as yellowfin tunas is that big eye. And sometimes that's one of the things that makes them an early morning feeder as well as a night feeder. Now, as you look at the saltwater sportsman pictures this week, we have a combination of yellowfin tunas and also blackfin tunas. But the thing that, as you said, great table fare, and they come in a variety of different sizes like this monster yellowfin. I'm very excited about this week's show, and we got to get to the captain's report, so let's get it on.
Yes, we do. We're going to begin with good old Jeffrey Page in the Central West region, who's here to give us some insight on what's swimming around over there. Hey, Paige.
All right. In the Starbright Central West region, the most common of the tunas, as you mentioned, are the blackfin. And although we have some yellows, they're way out, and they're not a targeted species like the black is. The black's the most common, and it's on fire all summer long. Captain Jason Sherrill, the Bad Habit Charter, says you can troll for them with X-Wraps or cedar plugs. And the key is finding big structure, marking big structure with your bottom machine in as close as 100, 150 feet of water, on out 200, 300 feet of water. Pay attention to current, pay attention to temperature breaks. Or you can still bottom fish on these same structures, and while you're bottom fishing, have a flat line with a thread fin, a pilchard, or a cigar minnow on a number 5 wire and a number 5 circle hook while you're bottom fishing on the same structure. Look for this action to continue throughout the summer, and I've got a nice photo of Mike Bowser with a blackfin he got last week with Captain Jason.
All right, tell me about the grouper fishing offshore, bub.
Staying offshore gags. Although the hot bite has slowed a little due to that water temperature, Rick, it's up to 87, 88 degrees offshore. Captain Jason says you can still get a quality catch of gags in as close as 40, 50 feet of water, out to 200 feet. The key, I heard you just mentioning about the tuna, is fishing either early or late. And you want to have big live baits, be it pinfish or grunts. Those are his two favorites. And what he's doing is he's marking smaller ledges and smaller structure, and he's keying in on those, anchoring off them the best he can, and he's ending up with some really nice gags like this photo we got tonight of Joe Mena, M-E-N-A, with Captain Jason, 46-inch, 42-pound gag grouper.
Man, that's a nice grouper. All right, Jeffrey, let's go inshore.
Inshore, redfish bite has stayed strong, and it's just going to keep getting better and better as we get into the month of August. The key, Rick, is finding the cleaner grass flats and bars near the inlets and passes due to the hot water and all the mats of grass. You can throw that saltwater assassin, dye dapper, in that Houdini pattern and rig it on a 4.0 weedless mustad 8-ounce hook. Cast it out as far as you can away from the boat, because believe it or not, our waters, we haven't had a lot of rain, and our water's really clean. Long Bar area is a good area, as well as the west side of Lemon Bay, just north of Stump Pass. And then if you live bait, guys, a pinfish or a pilchard under a cork, and keep that cork short, maybe a foot, foot and a half between your cork and your hook because of all the grass. Serious tip, like I said, is avoid that stagnant water. Find good moving water and try and avoid the floating grass. I've got a photo of a nice red taken by Arai Masashi of Shimano, Japan. He's over here for iCast. I got to take him fishing yesterday, and he got that nice red fish.
All right, Jeffrey, before we go any further on your inshore report, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Navionics from your region now. We're talking, guys, about the south end of Jeffrey's region, or at least in the south end of Sarasota Bay. Now, Longboat Key, as you can tell, we've got a lot of soundings here on the inshore as well as offshore out here. The key is that the tarpon are still following these contour lines, as you can see, and you want to check your sonar chips and the navionics, and it'll actually tell you where all the potholes are. Now remember, as it gets hot this time of year, a lot of the fish are going to move outside of the pass and stage on the outside beaches because the water's clearer and much cooler there, guys. So make sure you check that out. And go ahead, Jeffrey, tell me what else you got for me inshore.
Okay, inshore, snook. I know you just mentioned being out along the beaches, and they're all over, all along the beaches, all along the inlets and passes. And pretty much, if you find big balls of bait, you're going to find snook. Sometimes they're going to be in the middle of the bait balls, and they're just going to clear out a hole in them. But a lot of times they're either going to be south or north of the bait balls, but they're not going to be far from that bait. And if you want to fish early with lures, that's not a bad game. You can walk along the beach and cast flies at them. Another lure that works real well is the live target scaled sardine. It's a lure, it's a floating lure, but then when you go to work it, it goes maybe 2 inches below the surface, and you can twitch, pause it, and have it really work like a pilchard or a small little thread fin. Also, the docks and bridges at night have been doing real well. And like always, you guys, get you a Chevy truck.
All right, great report from the StarTron Central West region. Way to start us off, Jeffrey. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Tires Plus hotspots inshore. Mangrove snapper, nice 14 to 16-inch mangs over the grass flats in North Sarasota and South Tampa Bay. Live pilchards on a number 2. Light wire hook is the best bet to catch those mangrove snappers. And then offshore, bonitas and kingfish. Look for the kings and the little tunnies blowing up in and around the giant balls of bait in 40 to 50 feet of water. Throw lipped X-Rafts and 3/4-ounce white hookup bucktails, Bree.
Twitch, pause. Did you already describe that?
That's
good. Okay, moving on over to the Central East region, we have Captain Jim Ross on the line to tell us what kind of tuna you can expect to catch with Jim.
Well, Bree, you know, the yellowfin are the species that most of the anglers in my region are targeting throughout the summer months. This is because the blackfin have a tendency to kind of push on through and get a little farther to the north, but the yellowfin still seem to hang out there. Dark-colored trolling lures or high-speed lures, especially that new Williamson Speed Pro that can be pulled up to like 14 or 15 knots, seems to be really, really popular these days for the guys that are going over to the east side of the Gulf Stream. You're going to have to run approximately 60 to 65 miles east of the mainland to actually get to the other side of the stream, and then you're going to want to start looking for birds. You want to find those packs of seabirds that are working over those actively feeding schools of tuna. Now, on some days, you'll find yourself as far as 100 or possibly even 120 miles out if you're under that 120-mile buoy out of New Smyrna to find those packs of tunas. But, you know, generally on most days, 75 to 90 miles is where you're going to find the majority of the fish. Now, skipjack tuna and blackfin are also caught while you're out there searching for the yellowfin. And, you know, don't be surprised. The man in the blue suit, old Blue Marlin, might pop up there and hit one of those lures as well when you're dragging it on the other side of the stream. Now, our average yellowfin runs about 40 to 70 pounds, but fish to 90 pounds are possible. Now, the other thing that we have offshore right now is red snapper. The dates opened up this past weekend, and those initial dates for red snapper were no disappointment for most of the anglers in my region that I spoke with. Good numbers of these fish came back to the dock at Sebastian, Canaveral, and Ponce over all 3 days we had open recently. Now, the open dates for this coming weekend are the 18th, 19th, and 20th, and I'm telling you, these anglers cannot wait to get back out there. Live and cut baits are both working really well. The bigger, the better. You know, some of those guys are using vertical speed jigs as well with pretty good success, especially on the large structure like the cones or around schools of really good schools of sardines that we're holding on the 21 fathom area. But basically, anywhere between 60 feet of water and 250 feet of water in my region right now, you can find red snapper. Just keep looking around until you find them, mark them, and those fish are going to hang just above the structure in most cases. Now, our average fish is running about 8 to 16 pounds, but I'm telling you, there's some fish that were into the upper 20-pound and even the lower 30-pound class that came in this past weekend. Now, I've got a photo here. My good buddy Dave Marshall with a typical size red snapper that the guys were bringing back into the docks, just to show you that those things aren't as unplentiful as once thought. And they do have a really, really good recruitment here for the guys that are getting offshore. Got out there with the Drain Wizard, the Iceman, and North Jersey Joe. We went fishing together to catch some of those fish this past weekend, had a big time. Now, rolling inshore, snook. Right now, Captain Glenn Austin is telling me that the numbers of snook in the Sebastian area are absolutely fantastic. He's been targeting those fish in the Indian River in the mornings with topwater plugs or live baits. And then whenever he goes to the inlet, he's checking on those outgoing tides, especially in the late afternoon. And that's when he's getting really, really good action near the bridge fenders and those jetties. The live pinfish, pilchards, mullet, and croakers that you're going to take out there are going to be your best baits. And the snook are showing up near those jetties at Canaveral and at Ponce Inlets as well. So don't be afraid to try those two places either. And the guys that are fishing along the surf between Satellite Beach and Floridana Beach, between the Sebastian and Canaveral area, are doing really well. Now, our average snook is running about 26 to 36 inches, and these fish are out of season right now. So please handle them and release them with care. And then my last species for the week, lots and lots of redfish still happening in the lagoons right now, especially the northern Indian River Mesquite Lagoon. Now, this past week's full moon slowed the bite down a little bit, but we're still getting some pretty big fish and a decent number of slot-sized fish as well. Now, the slot-sized fish are on the flats and cruising those shorelines, looking for something to eat, basically. Little live mud minnows, finger mullet, shrimp, that sort of thing's working really good. Any kind of small bait that you can rig on a little live bait circle hook. Or you can cast at those fish with a saltwater assassin 4-inch shrimp, especially that drunk monkey color. That's been a really, really good one. Natural glow has been pretty good too. Mud bug's been pretty good. I mean, now the larger reds, they're holding on those deeper edges off the edges of the flats and along the ICW channel. And live or cut pinfish, live mullet, or crab seems to be working really good for them. And Rick and Brie, I wanted to say one thing. Congratulations to Brie for making the top 16 this past week in the Miss Florida contest. That was really awesome.
Oh, thanks,
and yep, and if for those guys and gals out there that haven't checked out the Yamaha motors, you got to check out the new Yamahas. Those 4-strokes are absolutely incredible. Get out there and get yourself a Yamaha motor if you get a chance.
All right, thanks, Jim. We'll see you at ICAST, and we're going to go ahead and get a look at the hookup hotspots from the Central East region. Inshore, Sebastian Inlet, North Jetty for snook on the outgoing tide. Use live pinfish, mullet, or croakers on the VMC circle hook. And then offshore, the 21-fathom ridge for red snappers. Use live or cut baits on a standard bottom rig and a VMC circle hook.
That was sweet.
It was.
He watched.
He did.
I got a fisherman to watch a pageant. Oh my gosh.
Wow. I bet there was more than one.
I bet there.
Just saying.
Hopefully.
Just
okay, tuna lovers, when we return, we're going off the deep end with Dave and seeing what the Keys region has to offer, only on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Good job, you did it this time.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger. Keep ice longer. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Humminbird, simply, clearly, better. And King Sailfish Mounts, www.kingsailfish.com.
Wandering out into this great unknown, and when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome. Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the Game Changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
And now it's time to go over the news and notes from the FWC. America boating courses are going on across the state. July 19th, we have a kids fishing clinic in Palm Coast. And September 6th is Saltwater License-Free Fishing Day. You can get more information at myfwc.com. Now it's time to go off the deep end.
Well, Dave, we're over here at the Jägermeister workbench, and hummingbirds off the deep end certainly is going to incorporate tunas.
Talk about tunas.
Tell me what you know.
Usually, when I'm targeting tunas, I'm trying to catch them for bait, or I'm looking for them because I know that there might be a blue marlin around those tuna fish. So that's usually what I'm doing. And I tell you what, we got a lot of tuna fishes around Florida. We got the blackfin tuna, which is very prevalent in the Keys and up the little bit of the eastern coast. We have the yellowfin tuna, which is really good fishing off the east coast of Florida out to about 65, 70 miles. And then we have a lot of yellowfin tuna in the Gulf of Mexico, some big bluefin tunas in the Gulf of Mexico sometimes. Summertime and even into October, you can come across a great big bluefin tuna, 800-900 pound fish.
Wow.
Most of the time, if you hook any tuna over 100 pounds and you're not prepared to catch that fish in deep water, you're going to lose it or be in for a long back-breaking
So how are we
thing.
going to catch them when we find them?
Well, you know, tuna, unlike a lot of fish, are very size specific about what they want to eat. You know, if you come up and you see a big bunch of tunas on the surface just going crazy, they're not up there just frolicking.
Right.
They're up there eating something.
Right.
And if you can't see what they're eating, then odds are you're going to have to use something really small to get a bite out of them, especially if they've been pounded. I'm glad you picked that up because that is kind of like a secret weapon. That little king right there.
King?
That's what I call it anyway. All it is a rubber skirt with a little
put a little
lead in it and a double strength 4 or 5/0 hook. If you're pulling a big island lure of some sort with a ballyhoo on it, your regular stuff, and you're going through a bunch of tuna and you can't get a bite, and you put them back further and you can't get a bite, and you go down in your leader size and you can't get a bite, it's time to get smaller with your stuff. The smaller it is, the better your chance you're going to get a bite out of them. And that little thing right there is a crusher. Little spoons. This is a bait. This is one of our bait fishing get-ups right here. It's a single spoon, a little crocodile spoon.
Right.
It's got a single hook in it instead of a treble hook, because if I catch a bait, I don't want it to be really wounded.
Right.
A single hook is a lot less traumatic for them than a treble hook.
Right.
And this is a double
so
rig.
you can pull one long and one short.
Yep, and you just pull
Got
those
it.
things, and that's a great thing for us to catch baits. We got a lot of skipjacks here too, which are a smaller tuna, but a lot of guys don't like to eat them for some reason. They're really good to eat. Most of the tuna that you eat in a can comes from a skipjack.
Now, a lot of guys will leave Florida and they'll run across. So
Right.
what are they? They're targeting obviously yellowfins, but
Right.
what do we have something here we want to throw for yellowfins? What the heck is this?
This is if you're in some of the places like Louisiana or over here off the east coast of Florida, and you pull up onto a big bunch of tunas feeding in a school, you can throw big poppers at them on a nice spinning reel. Obviously, you're going to need something with a lot of drag that can hold a lot of drag. That's a torque, and that's a pin torque. So, you know, you're going to need a really heavy spinning reel that can take a lot, and something that'll make a lot of noise on the surface. And that's why they have these big poppers. This is a Halco. Williamson makes them as well.
And what about this big lure?
Well, these are, you know, for trolling. If you're trolling around, you know, you'll get a lot of bites on some of these trolling lures. And what you do is you'll troll and troll and troll until you start getting bites on these things. You might even catch a few. The bad thing about trolling plugs with tuna fishes, you get a lot of bites. A lot of times they get off, especially if you don't use a single hook. A lot of times I'll take these swimming plugs and I'll take these treble hooks off, and I'll put a single hook on them, a bigger single hook on a swivel. That way the tuna can't use the swimming bait as a ledge.
What's the speed should you be trolling, Dave, for the black fins? How fast?
Well, for black fins, you don't want to be going that fast. I'd say you could do, 4 to 6 knots and still be fine. And then, even with little stuff.
And then even what about yellowfin?
Tiny little stuff. Sometimes you have to go fast, just fast enough to stay in front of them. You're very seldom are going to find, in Florida anyway, are going to find tuna where they're stationary. Okay. Our tuna are moving usually. Yeah. So you want to be in front of them. So you're just going to troll your stuff fast enough to stay in front of them.
All right.
And if you can stay in front of them, you're not going to spook them and make them go down. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to drive through them. You want to stay out in front of them.
Well, it's hard to stay in front of you, but unfortunately, we just burned through our time.
That was fast.
All right, Bree, where we going?
Use fluorocarbon, too.
Yeah, where are we going next, Bree?
Well, going down south, we're visiting the Keys region where Captain Randy Tao is telling us everything we need to know to catch these sleek swimmers. Hey, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, we have a lot of tunas in the Keys. Mostly blackfin tuna is what all of us fish for around here, from Key Largo to Key West. Although this time of year, last couple of days I've been offshore, and we've been catching some small juvenile bluefin tunas. We have them, seems like every summer about this time, we get a little push of these small bluefin tunas. They're not big, and we never catch any that are of size, but they're mixed in with the blackfins. And the blackfin tunas are our common go-to fish on the offshore humps right now. It seems to be an early morning or late in the day. I heard the late afternoon, just before dark, there's been some real nice ones being caught on the lures, you know, a tuna feather, anything dark that you can fish way back. They've been some real nice fish on the humps from the Islamorada to the Marathon. And if you can catch live bait like pilchards, and you can go out in the early morning and you can chum these fish up, some of those Marathon humps are a really good place to find some of the bigger tunas. Tuna fishing's been tough this year. There hasn't been a lot of big ones, but if you really want to target a big one, that's what you got to do. You got to get your pilchards, you got to get out there early, and you've got to chum with them as you drift over top of the hump, and you can catch some of these bigger tunas. Now, we don't get much on the yellowfins, although August, a little bit later in the summer, we do have some yellowfins that come through, and we have some yellowfins that come through in the wintertime, but it's really not something we can go target. It's kind of a bycatch when we're doing something else, but they do come through. But blackfin tuna right now are our primary go-to tuna for this time of year.
All right, Randy, go ahead.
Dolphin fishing right now, you know, I love the full moon in July, which we just had, and there's been some big dolphin. We caught some fish up to 40 pounds, and it really comes down to this. If you want to catch small dolphin, you can get into that 500 or 600 feet, look for the weeds, and you can catch some nice schoolies. You can certainly catch plenty of fish for dinner, and read the birds. Watch the birds. The more birds you see together will indicate more fish, more bait, and usually they're on small fish. The fewer birds indicate fewer bait fish that are being pushed up from the dolphin. They're going to be bigger. Now, if you want to try to target the bigger fish, you got to put your time in. You want to look a little bit deeper, and you want to look for singles, doubles, triples, 3 or 4 birds at a time working are going to yield some bigger fish. So that's what a lot of guys are doing to catch these bigger dolphin, unlike some guys that just go out, put a couple of lines out, and they troll, and they catch some schoolies. And every now and then there's a hunting accident where a guy will catch a 40-pounder. But if you really want to target the bigger dolphin down here, you need your spinning rods ready to go with a live bait or a pitch bait like a flying fish to throw at these bigger fish that you're going to see under these birds. And the birds really are your sign to catch the bigger dolphin.
All right, let's go inshore, bud. Oh, you got a picture, don't you?
Oh, I do have a picture. That's a 40-pounder
Whoa.
We caught a couple of days ago fishing with Nick Bagalea and Amanda Pagili and April Sunblom from Tampa. We got into them pretty good. That was our biggest of the day. We had like 5 big ones that day.
Wow, great fish, Randy. All right, let's go inshore now. I'm sorry.
You know, the red fishing has been good. This time of year, you know, it gets hot, and for some reason it seems like the redfish really like the hot weather up on top of the flats. And I've talked to a lot of guys who are doing this. You know, the tarpon fishing slowing down a little bit. So the guys are going more up on the flats trying to get their fly anglers some shots. I talked to young Jared Raskob, who is, as you know, he's a deadly young guide coming up. He's really good, and his anglers are getting, he said, 100 shots a day at tailing redfish up on the flats. So plenty of redfish. If you have that technical boat that can go shallow and find these things, you're going to get into them pretty good. Around Flamingo has seemed to be the best area right now. It's not a big secret. And you've got to have water. Obviously, when the tide falls and it's low, there's no water on the flats. And if you're in that situation with a bigger boat, you're going to want to fish the shorelines. You're going to want to fish some of the runoffs or the channels around the islands with live pinfish to get into the redfish. But a good redfish bite for the last few weeks, and it's probably only going to get better as the summer goes on. Our tarpon fishing, you know, it's winding down around Islamorada and the Keys this time of year. Once we get past the 4th of July, it seems like tarpon fishing locally gets harder to catch. There's fewer of them. They're making their migratory track back north, and there's not as many on the ocean side. And the guys that are catching them with bait are going real early in the morning, or they're going at night, drifting live crabs around the bridges. I've got a photograph, and this is exciting to me because I love this time of year, starting from now, the next couple of months. You know, Rick, we love the backcountry tarpon fishing, and it's good. And this is Thomas Sinatra from Russia with a big tarpon we caught just the other day.
Man, that's a great picture. Thank you, Randy. We're going to go ahead and get a look at the La Jolla hotspots from the Florida Keys. And Captain Randy, it's good to have you back inshore. Redfish, look on the flats in front and around Flamingo. Throw a 1/4 ounce gold spoon tipped with a piece of shrimp on a light rod when the tide is high, and then along the edges when the tide is low. And then offshore, dolphin, look for the birds in the weeds in 600 to 800 feet of water. Troll outside the weed lines with the ballyhoo and a blue and white skirt. Have your pitch rod rigged and ready, Bree.
I wonder if he was related to Frank Sinatra.
That'd be from cool. Russia?
Maybe.
I don't know. You never know where old Frankie went.
I didn't hear that part. Okay, now it's time to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys. The Red Ghost Stalk is an all-release tournament for anglers from 9 to 25 years old. Sorry, Rick, you're out of that one. Focusing on catch-and-release fishing for redfish and bonefish on fly, spin, or bait. The event is a fundraiser for the Islamorada Fishing and Conservation Trust. The Reef Light Shootout Fishing Tournament, set for Saturday, August 2nd, in Big Pine Key, features a grand prize of $3,500 for the heaviest dolphin. The 6th annual Spartan Fishing Tournament, planned for August 22nd and 23rd in Islamorada, is a family-friendly fishing event with backcountry and offshore divisions. The Robert James Sales Slam Tournament, scheduled for September 5th through the 7th in Key West, is the first of 3 tournaments in the annual Redbone Celebrity Tournament Series in the Florida Keys. The series raises funds for cystic fibrosis treatment and research. And now let's hear from Andy Newman, who's going to tell us about more tournaments in the Florida Keys.
Bree, the Key West Fishing Tournament, it's a free annual 8-month-long competition, runs from April through November, and is open to the general public. Visiting and resident anglers can register their catches at several tournament entry stations in the Lower Keys and Key West. Now, all entries receive a certificate noting their catch and qualify for prizes. Divisions for men, women, juniors, and even peewees. More than 30 different species of fish are eligible, and tackle classes range from 8-pound test to unlimited spin, plug, and fly. Hey, it's the 49th year of the Key West Fishing Tournament. More details available at keywestfishingtournament.com. And, of course, much more information on other tournaments, events, and accommodations on the Florida Keys website. Rick, it's flakeys.com.
Thanks, Andy. All right, Bree, where do we go? I'm swimming.
Okay, well, don't swim off, because when we return, we're checking out the East and Southwest regions right here on the Chevy
Florida
Insider
Fishing
Report.
Yay!
Yay!
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Croquis, made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Hi, I'm Harold Bennett. My dad started Bennett Auto Supply over 57 years ago. Things have changed since then. We've grown to 33 stores and opened a 93,000 square foot distribution center. But one thing has stayed the same, our focus on the customer. That's why we have the most knowledgeable parts specialists in the business, and we only offer quality auto parts at the guaranteed lowest prices. The next time you need anything for your vehicle, think Bennett Auto Supply. Best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Welcome back, and before we move on, we have to tell you about our awesome contest we have going on. One lucky winner and a friend will get a 3-day, 4-night fishing excursion to Casa Vieja Lodge in Guatemala. Not only will we be fishing for Pacific sailfish, blue marlin, dorado, and yellowfin tuna, you'll be fishing with the one and only Captain Rick Murphy. Plus you'll get all of this great fishing swag. And all you gotta do is go to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.com and like our Facebook page to enter. Good luck. And invite me if you win.
All right.
As your one person, that'd be cool. Because he won't let me come.
Why not?
Why not? Why won't you let me come?
Well, we'll talk about it during the commercial break.
Okay. All right, let's see what Captain Mike Holliday from the East Region has to say about the small football-sized blackfins who like to hang around the schools of Bonita. Let's hear more about it, Mike.
Mike Holliday says, I'm going to Casa Vieja with you guys.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, so listen, July is just a great month to target blackfin tuna in my region, particularly off Palm Beach County. There's a lot of small fish regularly feeding in 170 to 300 feet of water on the outside of the Bonita schools. We also see those small footballs on Push Button Hill, which is 12 miles southeast of St. Lucie Inlet. And then we get some tanks in the 30-pound class mixed in with the Bonitas throughout my whole region, you know, basically from Fort Pierce all the way down. I talked to Captain John Muskowskis of Stewart. He had one of those big tank Bonitas, like a 30-pounder on fly just last week. Now, if you want yellowfin tuna, you usually have to run to the corner. That's out of Bahama territory. It's 64 miles northeast from Fort Pierce Inlet, although the bite last week was further north, like 100 miles out. Then again, you know, it seems like every time we get a week or more of those strong easterly winds, a few fish blow over to the western edge of the Gulf Stream, and some angler hooks one of those 100-pound yellowfins in our area, usually off Palm Beach or Stewart. For the blackfins, you can cover water and troll silver, pink, or black and red feathers on or even a small ballyhoo. The way most guys do them, if they're targeting blackfins, drift and live chum with pilchards and live minnows. Put out live baits on 20-pound tackle, 25-pound fluorocarbon leader. Big key, light fluorocarbon leader, 3/0 VMC circle hook, small hook. You know, the guys targeting yellowfins troll naked ballyhoo, cedar plugs, or that purple, Yozuri 3D Magnum swimming plug. Average blackfin in my region is going to be 4 to 10 pounds with fish to 30 pounds. Average yellowfin out there in the corner is going to be 40 to 60 pounds. So that's what we have for tuna. Now, the dolphin fishermen the last couple of weeks that have been working the rips and edges in 140 to 240 feet of water between the Juneau Pier and St. Lucie Inlet, they're all talking about all the free jumping sailfish they're seeing in the area. A lot of the boats that are trolling ballyhoo, they're hooking up with 1 or 2 fish every day, but the guys that are live baiting are the ones that are reporting multiple shots at sails in those areas. A lot of the sailfish are big, so make sure you have 30-pound tackle. That 20-pound tackle is not going to do in this case. Live sardines, threadfins, and pilchards have been the best baits, but if you're live chumming and targeting the blackfin tuna, you can sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone by having a pitch bait ready on a 30-pound rod, with a 50-pound fluorocarbon leader and like a 7.0 VMC tournament circle hook. Just have it ready to pitch to any sails that show up in the chum line. Those average sailfish are going to be 40 to 60 pounds. They're showing up pretty quickly every day. The guys that are chumming are getting 2 to 4 shots every day right now.
All right, tell me what's going on inshore there, Hollywood.
Well, the tarpon bite in the inlets and the inshore areas has just been nonstop for like the last week or so. There was a late season push of fish along the beaches all through last week and through that full moon. And a lot of those fish are pushing into the inlets and the inshore waters to take up their summer residence in places like the Crossroads in Stewart, North and South Forks of the St. Lucie River, the Loxahatchee River, Big Mud Creek in St. Lucie County. Those summertime fish are here right now. In the inlets, the best bites have been in the late afternoon and into the evening, and that's when the boat traffic is calmed and the fish are, more active. Guys using live mullet or thread fins drifted out the inlet with the outgoing tide. For the fish in the rivers, be on the water. The bites early, be on the water before dawn. Cast a Houdini or a Mississippi hippie-colored saltwater assassin 4-inch shad with a 1/4-ounce red-colored jig head. Throw that at the rolling fish. Let it sink for 4 seconds and just reel it back slowly. The bite's very soft. Or you can slow troll live mullet on the surface. It's like 50-50 which one you're going to get a bite on. That bite's over by 8 o'clock in the morning. Average tarpon in my region is 40 to 90 pounds. I got a photo. That's, a nice fish. It's like a 140-pound fish that I landed last week for Mike Braverman out of Miami. He caught that fish in the St. Lucie Inlet on the outgoing tide, and that fish ate a live threadfin. So the tarpon bite's going on. The other bite is all in the inlets. This is a time of the year when the mangrove snapper move into the inlets to spawn and to feed on all those juvenile pilchards and threadfins that are being swept out with the tide. Pick an inlet in my area. The snapper bite is red hot in all of them. The fish are holding in the rocks at the jetties and also around the down trees and other structure like the bridges that are nearby the inlets. The best action is going to take place all the way through the slack tides. As soon as the water slacks, that's when the bite starts, and it goes all the way through the tide and until it starts moving again. Once the current starts to flow, or slow down, put on a live shrimp, a pilchard, a juvenile sardine or threadfin, throw them close to the rocks on 20-pound tackle and a 30-pound leader and a 2.0 circle hook. Live shrimp and sand perch are also good baits if you can't get those other baits. The bite will last until the tide starts to flow again, and then the average snapper is going to be 1 to 3 pounds with larger fish in the mix. So snapper bite's good, guys.
All right, let's go bass fishing. We need a report.
Well, I was talking to FLW Pro Scott Martin of Clewiston, and he said the lake water's been rising from all those rains we've had, and it's up about 3/4 of a foot right now. And all those bass that were out in, offshore in the open water are starting to move towards the outside grass line, pushing back in because the water's rising. Places like the west wall, the east wall, Observation Shoal, they all have a lot of fish on the outside grass lines in those areas right now, including a legitimate 10-pounder that was caught this week, which is a big fish for the summertime. Those bass are really keyed in on the shad, so a 3/8 ounce white spinnerbait or a white dye dapper or a white swimming jig, that'll get all the bites, even a white lipless plug, anything in those shad colors. The action is from dawn until about 10 a.m., then it completely shuts off, so you want to be on the water in the dark, fish till the heat of the day. Look for the fish busting shad on the surface or diving birds that are getting on those shad that are coming up to the top. You'll find the school fish, and you'll pretty much catch fish on every cast until that bite slows down. Be on the water early, off the water before it gets hot, and get you 20 or 40 bass. And have a great day on Okeechobee right now.
All right, thanks, Mike. Here are the East Region hotspots brought to you by WaterwayCafe.com. Inshore, whiting from the Jupiter Beach. I'm whiting from the beach at Pepper Park in Fort Pierce. I don't know where I got Jupiter. I was just there last week. That's what happened. Sand fleas, shrimps, and a 1-ounce ace jig head on the ultralight tackle. And then offshore, mutton snappers on the Loran Tower ledge, sardines and cigar minnows on 40-foot. And then 40-pound fluorocarbon leaders. Man, I really flubbed those hot spots, didn't I?
Oh, that's good. We should repost those so they can hear them. All right, let's have a one-on-one with Captain Ronnie Houston in the Southwest region, who has a lot to tell us about what's biting in his waters.
Well, obviously, tuna's not common in the region. Not saying it can't be done. It's just not an everyday thing. Now, we've had beautiful weather over the last couple of weeks, both inshore and offshore, but you got to remember, we've had a bunch of rain, and watch the storms before you venture inshore or offshore. But on the offshore side, you know, the red and gag grouper bite, it just doesn't get any better. Fish can be caught all through the region in depths of anywhere from 65 to 85 feet of water. Now, you want to concentrate mostly for the reds along the hard bottom and the gags along ledges and wrecks, drifting until they can be located, and then the best bet, you can anchor up and catch these fish. Now, the prime baits for the reds right now are white bucktails tipped with squid or glowworms, or like I mentioned last week, the white or chartreuse dye dappers on those. Also, cut baits have been very effective, such as sardines, squid, and herring. And, you know, specifically for the gags, you want to try to target these fish a little different. Not saying they won't eat a cut bait. For the gags, you want to use live pinfish or grunts. Like I said, they'll also eat cut baits. Now, the further the depth, the better chances you guys are going to have to catch keeper-sized fish. I'm not saying you can't fish closer and catch keeper-sized fish. The odds are you're going to catch a lot smaller fish, take you more amount of time to catch a keeper-sized fish, venture out into those deeper depths, and I guarantee you get hit, that fish is going in the box. And I've got a picture, a prime example of fish that were just caught, the red groupers with Captain Mike Avanon, with Patrick White and friends. This is on a typical day, venturing out into those depths, and like I say, those guys release plenty of fish. Now, still on the offshore side, the beautiful weather we've been having for the last several weeks, right now you want to fish for the dolphin, which is not typically common over the last couple years. Fish right now can be caught all through the region, but the depths are a little bit further, 95 to 115 feet. Now, here we go again. Moderate weather is suggested to make that run. Key things to look for are birds, floating debris, and weed lines. Now, you can also work areas where there's birds and weed lines by simply trolling feathers to locate these fish. But in the combination of weed lines and abundance of baits along the weed lines, that will make your chances better. Now, once you get into these schools, just about anything from small jigs, cut baits, and live pilchers or herring will work. But fish seem to be smaller on the west side here. But you got a chance of catching a bigger bull or a cow. Prime example, Mike Avanon with a nice-sized dolphin caught on the west coast of Florida. Now, as we venture on the inshore side, I heard Mike mention something about a bite being over by 10 o'clock in the morning up in Okeechobee. Right now, from Naples to Fort Myers, with the abundance of rain we've received, here's what you want to do. You concentrate on water flow to include culverts, bridges, spillways, turns and canals. I consider those right now attack points. But you can also walk banks, looking for minnows and smaller baits swimming down the edges. Ponds, rock pits, and golf courses are also holding. My point of this matter is, fish in these attack zones will catch you a bigger fish if there's good current flow. Now, you're not going to catch a lot of numbers, but you do have an opportunity all throughout the day to catch fish anywhere from 6 to 10 pounds. And I've been practicing this stuff. I've been keeping a rod in my truck and trying to areas I've never fished. But we want to do this before the water levels get too high. But if you don't want to practice that pattern, live shiners, lip plugs, top water plugs, artificial worms, and spinner baits. Colors to include black, purple, watermelon, motor oil, black and silver, black and gold, or clown. But if I was looking for a fish anywhere from 6 to 10 pounds, I use a lip plug 3 to 4 inch, hitting that current flow, particularly black and gold color with a little feather on the tail. Now, temperatures heating up during the day, and with this moon we have passing right now, the snook bite. Nighttime snook fishing still remains to be good all through the region, on the last of the outgoing to the first half of the incoming. Concentrating along most intercoastal docks, bridges, and seawalls. Concentrate on light and shadow lines. Now, the swifter the current will trigger a better bite. Typical baits can be live shrimp or artificial shrimp and root beer, white or glow. Also small 2 to 4 inch swim baits. Reel in these swim baits with the paddle tail steady, and a variety of small lip plugs in white, red and white, chartreuse, and olive. All have been affected. Like I say, fishing's good, temperature's hot, watch the storms, have a good time fishing.
All right, great report from the CCA Southwest region, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, redfish and snook, Whitehorse Key to Rabbit Key, early in the morning, outgoing tide using topwater plugs and gold spoons on a point. And then offshore, mangrove snapper, stump pass to Sanibel, fishing wrecks and day or the night, chumming and using small cut baits. Okay, Bree. Now I was reading the hotspots. They don't know that you were messing with me. Go ahead. Read the next introduction.
Okay, 5 regions down, 4 more to go. I can take it. Coming up next, Dave is busting out some new fishing swag at the Jägermeister workbench, and our captain from the Northwest region has some tuna insight for you. We'll be right back.
Needs one of these so we can follow the down.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, diver, and fisherman. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium boat brands, Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Navionics, we start where the road ends.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Oh, there he is. Hey, you! Yeah. Fat boy, you can't get none of this. Look at me. I got moves. I go left, I go right, I go left again. Watch this, watch it. Oh, there it is. Psych! I'm so erratic, I don't even know where I'm going. Come on, Chubby Cheeks. Come on, Bucket Mouth. Come get some of this. I can do this all day long. Look at me, watch this. Come on. Your mama's so fat that she can't get out the fish net. Ow! All right, I'll give you that one.
Jägermeister workbench, Dave, talking about new products, and we got, what are these yellow balls about?
Be gentle with the balls. Just be gentle. I already almost broke one already.
You did?
Yeah. These are the Reese Solo Hitch alignment system. The Reese Solo Hitch alignment system. And what it does is they have these nice magnets in here, some heavy-duty magnets. You adjust them. Put this down on the bottom on your trailer hitch.
Right.
Put this one on your trailer.
On the
adjust the balls to the
right height so you can see it.
So that they're even, and then when you back up your truck, when the balls touch,
when the balls meet,
you're aligned.
You're ready to be hooked up.
Correct. That's awesome.
That's exactly what it says here on the deal.
Yep, exactly. And it's perfect for if you're by yourself and you have a lot of times you have to put the tailgate down and everything because you can't see your hitch. You don't have to worry about that anymore. This is
nice.
a little jewel of an idea. The Solo Hitch.
Somebody was thinking.
Yeah, I guess so. It wasn't me. I'm not making no money off of it. Okay, now this is a really nice reel that we have here. This is called the Uribe reel. A guy named Danny Uribe makes them. These are the Uribe, starts with an A. But these are called the performance reels. Wow. And it's he instead of trying to cut corners and trying to find the cheapest stuff to put together a reel, he went the other way and pretty much got all the best stuff he could get. It's incredibly tight tolerances on this reel. There's no slop on it. It's got carbon fiber drag washers in there with high polished aluminum. It's very lightweight for its size. It only weighs like 17 ounces.
It is light.
It's got satellite SKF high precision ball bearings in it, and the gears are really large for the size of the reel, and they have got a diamond hard coating on them. I mean, just about everything on this thing is just amazing. It's 6061 milled aluminum, heat-treated titanium main rod in there. Yeah, they're like $700 for that. Wow. But if it's the last one you're supposed to buy. Exactly. I mean, this thing's not going to come apart. It's not going to vibrate loose. If you noticed, all the fasteners and everything on it are top notch. I mean, if you
can tell by reeling it.
Exactly. When when you've been in this business a while and you pick up a nice piece of equipment, you can tell, and that's really nice. The Aribe 1200 reel.
All right, so we went from balls to the reel. Now we got these things.
Yep. Now these are some ProSoft. This is called the Super Scupper, and these are made by ProSoft, Pacific Trolling Gear. I've known these people for 20 years. Really good friends of mine.
Stuff.
And they were the first company to make the really soft, clear heads, like crystal clear, soft heads. And these are called the Super Scupper. It's got an 1.25 inch head, which is a lot bigger than that regular little scupper over there.
Right.
And these things put out, they go straight, they got the hole in the center, it goes through a lot of different sea conditions and over a wide range of speeds, so you can use these a lot in just about any conditions, and they're almost foolproof as far as pulling them. I mean, as long as they're not tumbling, they're going to catch fish, and the soft head keeps stuff coming back for them over and over again.
You got about 30 seconds.
Well, I got some Mojo stuff. I've been trying to get these on the air for a while. Mojo, these are the new Marlin SPF vented wireman shirts. Really good stuff. They got vented side panel. The side here are vented. They dry very fast. They make matching face guard for all these. The Dorado shirt, they make a Dorado face guard. Same way with the Marlin. Really, really, I had a hard time. They sent me a ton of these things, and I showed them off at the Marlin University thing, and it was like a feeding frenzy. People really love this Mojo stuff, and I like it too. They really make good products.
Well, you're out of Mojo time.
I'm out. I'm out of time. I got some more stuff.
But you know what I want to tell you?
We got the ICAST show coming up, so
I know.
Next week is going to be plowed.
But I want to tell you something, Dave. When you go tuna fishing, there's always some cleanup to be involved, and we're talking about Starbright products and how to clean our boat. So let's take a look at this package. Guys, after a hard day of fishing, you got some cleanup to do. Certainly I do on my Pathfinder, but more importantly, Starbright, since they've come on board, have really made my job easier. And over the last 30 years, I've been cleaning boats, so I know when it's hard versus when it's easy. Now, the one thing that I really enjoy using is the Super Orange biodegradable citrus boat wash and wax. And the reason why I like this Starbright product is because of two things. One, the smell gets all that funky fish smell right out of the boat, so when I return to the boat, I've got no smell of fish whatsoever. Also great for cleaning coolers. Now, it only takes 3 caps for a 5-gallon bucket. I really like the fact that it gives me a great durable polymer shine, and it also removes dirt, grime, and oil. So it helps resist stains and obviously the weather that you get, and protects the boat. Now, certainly you gotta have a mitt. I love the Starbright mitt because it allows me to get into all those little cracks and crannies around the console, and also on all the chrome and the aluminum polished parts. Getting around the rod racks, very, very important. But as I find tougher stains, I allow this using Ultimate Extreme Clean. Now simply, I just spray this on the spot, let it sit for about 15 to 30 seconds, and it really allows that spot to be picked up and cleaned a lot easier. Especially works very well on scuff marks from black-soled shoes. Now, if you got really tough stuff, you want to make sure you try the Boat Scuff Eraser. The reason why this works so well is it got a formulated pad inside here that has some suds, as you can see. I haven't even put this in the bucket, I just got it wet. But it really works on those tough little spots. Now remember, when you get done with your washing, you need to clean the screen as well as the windshield on the Pathfinder and my Hummingbird. So the Starbright Screen Cleaner and Protectant really allows me to get my screen and windshield ready for the next day. Remember these products by Starbright, and make sure you go to starbright.com to find out about their full line of cleaning products, and it'll make your life a lot easier.
Good job, Rick. Ha, got you. Diver down. Okay, moving on to the Northwest region where...
Give me the jellyfish.
No way. Captain Jeff Hageman has the tuna catching secrets. Let's see what the Hagster has to say this week.
Well, right now is the time to be out there. We've got mostly blackfins over on our coast. We get the occasional yellowfin, but most of our fish are blackfins. Right now, you can find them from anywhere from 80 feet of water and out. On your way out, you want to look for birds, bait, any kind of activity out there, especially frigate birds, working in an area. Once you find the fish, you can either fast troll with tremblers, get behind shrimp boats is another great way to do it. High relief structures right now are holding some good fish in 80 feet of water and out. Get out there with a bunch of sardines, thread fins. You can chum them up right behind the back of the boat. The more chum you got, the more effective you'll be and the more tuna you'll catch. You can keep them right behind the back of the boat. You will get some bonita mixed in with them, but you can bring them right back to the back of your boat with a lot of chum. So when you're going offshore, pack that live well full of nice live bait. Get out there and throw that chum out there. Also offshore right now, the grouper fishing in the entire region right now is continuing to get better and better. Right now, the fish are on the move. This hot weather we got is pushing them out deeper. So 70 feet of water out to 150 feet of water is where you're going to find most of our gags right now. Rock piles, ledges are the best bet right now for finding fish. Some of the high relief structures are holding grouper, but they're getting fished a lot. So those rock piles and ledges are really which one to key in on. Fish grunts on a standard bottom rig is the bait of choice right now. Start off with some cut bait, get the fish fired up, get all the fish down there moving and eating and looking around. Once the bite slows down with the cut bait, drop down that live bait and you'll continue to produce some nice fish. Captain Jordan Todd of Saltwater Obsession moving inshore out of Indian Pass and St. Vincent Sound says the triple tail fishing has been picking up. Look for floating structure, crab traps, any kind of pilings, grass lines. The best times to catch these fish right now are late mornings, early afternoon when the sun is highest. Good visibility is a must because you're going to be sight fishing most of these fish. Also, during the falling tide, you want to look for free floaters on the top of the surface moving out with the tide. Use live or fresh live shrimp under a cork, 2-aught circle hook, or pogie strips have been working really well too. You want to cast the baits up current, let them drift back to the fish. The average fish right now are running anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds, and some 15 pounds have been caught. And I got a good photo there of Captain Jordan Todd with one of his clients with a nice triple tail.
All right, that looks good, Hag. What else you got for us inshore, bud?
I got trout fishing. Captain Pat McGriff out of Keaton Beach reports a great bite right now, anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5 feet of water over the broken bottom. You know, fish the outgoing tide. It's been a little bit better than the incoming tide. Fishing pinfish under a cork or a nuclear chicken and the turbo shad from Bass Assassin under a Cajun Thunder has been working really well too. Fish are averaging anywhere up for about 20 inches, and most of the fish are averaging 15 to 17.
Hey, Hag, I got a quick question for you. You know, when you guys now get home from tarpon fishing, how do you decompress?
I keep tarpon fishing and then do a little scalloping, a little time down the Keys, and right now I'm at ICAST waiting for you guys to get here.
All right, so we're going to take Bree scalloping pretty soon?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow in the next few days. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Inshore, snook bite is in the lower region on the outgoing tide using pinfish and sardines for bait, and then offshore, mangrove snappers, 70 to 80 feet of water over high relief structures. Use hookup jigs and tailhook jumbo shrimp or a sardine.
All right, if all of this tuna talk is making you want to go get sushi like it's making me want to do, sit tight because when we come back, we're going on up to the Panhandle region and then head down to the Southeast region right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing
Report.
Aww.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, find new roads. Alukai, fit by nature, crafted by hand. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Rapala, catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
All right, our annual Kids Fishing Show is just around the corner. Wednesday, August 13th, we are inviting you and your kids to our studio for a great show all about kids and fishing. All you need to do is go to our website at ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com and RSVP. Space is limited, so hurry on up. And I remember Justin Long, we met at the Firecracker 400, met his kids, and they're going to come on down, took pictures. They're the cutest kids. I'm so excited.
I'll have my big kid here.
Me.
Yay.
Okay, let's go to the Panhandle region where our expert Captain Pat Deneen is probably the only one who can tell you how to keep up with one of the fastest
fastest swimming fish in the sea.
Sorry.
Tell us, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
How y'all doing tonight?
Bree, not so good. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, hey, I'll tell you what, we catch yellowfin tunas, blackfin tunas, and a few big eye tunas year-round. But we also get some big bluefin tunas in May and early June in the northern Gulf of Mexico. It's a real important spawning area for those big bluefins, and you're usually going to find them around those deep water floating rigs south of the river. You can catch the tunas open water around the spur and also in the canyon, but the rigs are definitely the most dependable place to target them. So if you're going for the tunas, it means a rig trip, 95 plus nautical miles out of Destin. The best bite is usually late afternoon throughout the night, and then again first thing in the morning, with, in my opinion, the best fishing being in October and November. Lately, the Noble Globetrotter drill ship, the Nakika, the Blind Faith, those have all been really good. What you want to do is find a rig that's in good blue water, and the problem with that is that the blue water is always moving around, so you subscribe to a satellite service to find out where that water is. It's productive to fish with live bait like a hardtail or a flying fish, or to set up a drift with chunk baits with bonita, blackfin tuna, pogies, or Boston mackerel. And then the metal jigs are particularly good for the blackfins at night around the rigs. And if you see those yellowfins popping, if you see the yellowfins busting on the surface, use a popper. And there's a photo there of Glenn Whiteman and he fished with us on the out of here with a nice 60, 70-pound class yellowfin that we caught by the Noble Globetrotter a couple weeks ago.
Who's
so
that
we
big,
do have some really good tuna fishing.
Who's that big guy in the corner there, Pat?
That would be Adam Schrader, Whoa.
Oh, whoa. Okay, I knew you had a nickname for him. All right, let's stay offshore. What you got?
All right, moving further inshore, but still offshore, there's some big king mackerels being caught. Captain Tony Davis on the Anastasia out of Destin. He had a trip this past week. He caught two 40-plus pounders, a 30-pounder, and a whole mess of 15 to 20-pounders. Sitting on the beach tarpon fishing, we've been seeing plenty of 30-plus pound king mackerels cruising the bar or hanging around those bait schools. But if you want to fish for the king mackerels, fish for them over the natural bottom of the wrecks in 80 to 100 foot of water. Use live cigar minnows or herring on a wire stinger rig. And if you want to fish for those bigger kings, go with a bigger bait like a hardtail or a bluefish, also rigged on a wire leader with a stinger. And the average size kings are 10 to 15 pounds, but there's definitely some smokers being caught. And there's a photo of a king we caught last week over one of the nearshore barges. I think that fish weighed a little over 30 pounds. And he ate a live cigar minnow.
That's a nice fish. All right, let's go inshore, Pat.
Inshore, Rick, the black snapper is moving into the nearshore structure every year, late summer, early fall, or late summer like it is right now. St. Andrews jetties, the East Pass jetties, the Dessa Bridge are all holding fish. They're pretty wary. I mean, so you want to use 2 feet of 15 to 20-pound fluorocarbon on a Carolina rig with a #1 or even a smaller circle hook. And the best bait is a small live shrimp or even a little tiny pilchard, maybe a 3-inch pilchard. Fisher baits on the bottom, near the rocks or the pilings. About half the fish being caught inshore like that are legal length, with the remainder being short, so you got to let them go. The bigger mangroves are definitely out in the Gulf on some of those wrecks and reefs. And then also inshore, the redfish has been good at the Bob Sykes Bridge in Gulf Breeze, and also the Destin Bridge and the jetties on both the incoming and the outgoing tides. At the Bob Sykes Bridge, fish the pilings and the fenders in the middle of the channel. Use live croakers, pinfish, or a menhaden on a Carolina rig. 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce egg sinker will hold that bait close to the bottom, and a 1/0 to 2/0 circle hook with 2 to 3 feet of 20 to 30 pound leader. At Destin Pass, the current is definitely a contender. We got that heavy tide movement going on, so you may need to use 2 to 3 ounces or more. Most of the fish being caught are slot fish in the 23 to 27 inch range.
All right, Pat, I got a question for you. You know, last week I think you reported some big redfish being in the bay. What happened to those fish this week, bud?
If you're going to find those pelicans bombing out in the middle of the bay, particularly in the Sound, they're bombing on pogie schools, and those big redfish are up underneath those pogie schools. So if you find those pelicans bombing, get close to them and then sink a bait down below the pogie schools, and you're very likely to find a big redfish.
All right, Pat, good job. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outriggers hotspots from the Panhandle region inshore. Bob Sykes Bridge for the slot-sized redfish, using live pinfish, croakers, menhaden on a Carolina rig. And then offshore, vermilion snapper on the live bottom in 80 to 130 feet of water, using cut squid or minnows on a chicken rig. Chicken rig.
Chicken rig.
Chicken rig?
Chicken rig. Okay, now we have Captain Jimbo Thomas in the southeast region with some important insight to keep you hooked up to those tuna. What you got for us, Jimbo?
That's right. Well, we've got blackfin tunas are the most commonly caught tuna for those of us in the southeast region. We find small or football-sized blackfins throughout the year. Most of them are caught on small trolling feathers. Usually there's some birds, you can see them working. And then starting around the middle of April, we start to see the bigger blackfins. They hang around roughly through June, and most of these bigger blackfins, we're talking about fish in the 25 to 30 pound range, are caught on live baits, fish under the kite, or drifted in 120 to 300 feet of water. And pilchards, herrings, sardines, and goggle eyes are the most commonly used baits. Now, since all tunas are usually a little leader shy, we like to use 40 to 50 pound fluorocarbon leaders and 3/0 to 5/0 circle hooks, depending on the bait size. And tunas are also low light feeders, so they will bite best early in the morning and then late in the afternoon just before dark. And also they bite good on overcast days as well. There's usually no birds associated with these big blackfins, unlike them little ones we do see the birds. Now, we also have yellowfin tunas, but they're just a rare incidental catch off our coast. But just 90 miles away in northwest Providence Channel, which is in between Freeport and Bimini in the Bahamas, there's a great yellowfin tuna fishery over there, and you do have to find the birds over there to point the fish out. So unlike us here in Miami and off our coast, no birds. Over there, lots of birds. Now, most of the regulars that fish over there have invested in a good radar that can mark the birds from miles away. And if you don't find the birds, you're not going to catch the fish. Otherwise, you use your binoculars to find them, but radar is the modern way to do it. Now, for these yellowfins, the late afternoon bite's usually the best. And we go over there loaded with bait wells full of pilchards and bucketfuls of chunk bait. We chunk up bonitas, chunk up sardines. It doesn't matter as long as you got chunk bait. Then once we locate the birds, we troll feathers and cedar plugs through these birds, through the flocks, till we get a hookup. Usually it's a skipjack. Then we shut down, start to live and chunk chum. Then we drift baits way back behind the boats and wait for the yellowfins to show up. Sometimes they come up immediately. Sometimes it takes a half an hour, and sometimes they don't come up at all. So then if they don't come up, you chase the birds down, try it again until they find you. Now, these yellowfins average anywhere from 30 to 70 pounds, and there are larger ones mixed in. So you want to use some stout tackle to get these fish in as quick as possible. Otherwise, sharks are going to get them. We like to use 50 to 60 pound braided line with a long 50 pound fluoro leader and a circle hook, and to fish a tight drag. And if you do go over there to the Bahamas, be sure to follow the Bahamian rules and clear customs before you start to fish. Now, a little closer to home, we're still finding mahi on a daily basis, finding them anywhere from 10 to 25 miles offshore. Now, most of the fish are being found under birds and anything of size floating. There have been some big weed lines the last few days, but that can change overnight. The schools have been traveling to the south, and they've been eating small baits out of the seaweed, either whether it's a weed line or just patches. But they've been eating these small baits, so they've been a little bit finicky because their bellies have just been full of these little baits, and most of our baits have been a little bigger than what they've been eating. So we've been trying to use our smaller live baits and cutting small bonita strips to try and match the hatch. What we've also been doing is dropping our sabikis down under the weed patches, catching these small blue runners that are under there, and that's exactly what they're eating. You can get bait well full of those small blue runners, you're going to be in luck. Some of these schools have been mixed-size fish with some legal and some throwbacks, and then the next school you might find is all 5 to 8 pounders. And there haven't been too many big ones around, but on Monday we did get lucky and catch a 36-pounder, so that was a nice one. Now moving inshore, we have a mixed bag. There's been schools of small pilchards, herring, sardines, and glass minnows coming down the beach. Some of these baits have come inside the inlets and into the bays. Following these bait fish along the beach have been bluefish, assorted jacks, barracudas, small tarpon, and snook. And as these baits are finding their way inshore, they're being joined by sea trout and mangrove snapper. Now, the best baits along the beaches have been live pilchards, herring, and Rapala X-Wraps. And then inside the bays, a live bait fish under a Cajun Thunder or Rapala X-Wrap, Twitch and Wrap, or a red jig head with a Trigger X or Gulf tail on there. That's been working as well. Doesn't matter if you're off the beach or in the bay, you first have to locate these baits. Look for terns and pelicans diving, or if it's calm, look for the baits flipping on the surface. You want to fish and work your baits on the outskirts of these bait schools. Now, we also have some larger tarpon being caught around the inlets and bridges, also on the outside flats from Key Biscayne, South Angelfish Creek. In the inlets and around the bridges, a live crab or mullet is still the best bait fished in the evening on any tide, so long as the water is moving. And then around the flats, look for the fish pushing towards the north. Bait them with live crab, shrimp, or mullet. And if you want to go with artificial, crab pattern flies, Rapala X-Wraps have been working. And anytime you use a live crab and you got one in the water, you always got a shot at a permit. And most of these tarpon have been in the 60 to 100-pound range.
All right, great report from the Captain Harry's region. All right, Jimbo, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the southeast region hotspot. Inshore, locate the bait on the grass flats on the North Biscayne Bay.
And catch a variety of species on small live or artificial baits. Going offshore, look for birds working over schools of mahi offshore in the blue water, and have small live and cut bait ready. Rick?
All right.
Bree? You know what I say when I get a little sad our show's almost over, Rick?
What?
Hot tuna matata. Coming up on the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report is our Coastal Conservation Minute and your report from the Northeast region. Stay tuned in.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. Tires Plus, Total Car Care. The IGFA, Conservation Through Education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Lumber Rock. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a fob and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Casa Vieja Lodge, Guatemala.
StarTron is a multifunctional fuel additive that uses enzyme technology. StarTron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Engines powered by StarTron treated fuel start easily and run smoothly with fewer emissions and better fuel economy. StarTron restores octane to old substandard fuel. StarTron's enzyme formula enhances combustion for a more complete fuel burn. StarTron, it's not the engine, it's the fuel.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Today's Costa Conservation Minute is about using a landing net. Now let me explain something, guys. Whether you fish inshore or offshore, we know we've all flipped the dolphin from offshore fishing into the deck. And when he hits the deck, he jumps all over the place, certainly gives himself a headache. And no matter what happens, it's certainly not good for that fish to be bouncing on the deck. When you go and buy a net, you might want to consider a net that has a nice coating on the net mesh. The rope meshes have a tendency to knock the slime off of the fish and actually knock some of the scales off the fish, which isn't good. But these plastic coatings like this particular fray bill seem to work very well. The other thing that comes to mind, and truly is part of the reason why it's more conservation oriented for the fish, or better for the fish, is that when the fish's weight is laying in this net, it has a tendency to bend him. And when a fish is bent, he becomes a lot more docile. So just like you see with these snook, you'll see that it seems to be a lot better. You can control the fish and then get them back in the water as quickly as possible. So keep that in mind. Use your landing net whether you're fishing inshore or offshore.
And we're back. Now from the southeast region, we have Captain Russell Theron with some important blackfin tuna catching tips coming your way. Hey, Russ, man.
Hey, Bree. Hey, Rick. How you guys doing here? And this is Captain Russell from the northeast region. Hey, anyway, I want to tell you guys about the blackfin tuna. Now, you're going to want to run to the ledge. Now, you know, be prepared to troll your plugs, 100 to 200 yards, behind your boat. Now, look for birds and striking tuna on the surface, or you can look for the bait pods, down below with your depth finder. Now, the choice of lures are a blue and white or either a black and orange. Cedar plugs really work great. Now, talking about the yellowfin tuna, that's going to require a long run, at least 100 to 135 nautical miles to the far side of the Gulf Stream. Now, what you want to look for are the temperature breaks, and you want to use at least a 12 kilowatt or better radar to spot the birds, maybe as far as 3 to 5 nautical miles away. The best baits to troll are small-skirted ballyhoo, or you can use a sea witch or islander lures rigged with 30 feet of 60 to 80-pound fluorocarbon leaders. Now, another tuna that we have here, that's the bonita, and they're also a hoot on light tackle and spin tackle and on a fly. What you're just looking for is striking fish and diving birds. The bonita are fast, and they're very fun to catch by trolling or by casting. A Rapala, clacking minnow, number 11, or you can use a Bass Assassin jerkbait, 5-inch smoking shad on a 3/8 or half-ounce white hookup jig. Will get the job done. Now, the fly fisherman will also want to use glass minnow patterns tied to a fluorocarbon leader and a clear intermediate fly line rigged on an 8 or 9 weight fly rod with plenty of backing. Now, staying offshore, I want to talk about last weekend's mini genuine red snapper season. We had some great reports of fish caught last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Most of the snapper were caught over the artificial reefs and wrecks in 100 to 130 foot of water. Live baits caught the biggest red snapper. And, of course, anytime you go out, you want to be sure that you got fresh cut baits and squid. Typical size of the red snapper caught were anywhere from 15 to 18 pounds last weekend. This is a photo here of the Wilson family, and they had a great day fishing the mini snapper season last weekend. Great job to all of the Wilson family members. Okay, Rick, moving inshore. The reports are that the flounder fishing has been really taking the lead here. And the flounders are coming around the oyster beds and along the bridge and dock pilings in 4 to 12 foot of water. Now, to get that flounder bite, you want to bump a 1/4 or a 3/8 size hook-up jig, tip with a live mud minnow or maybe a live fingerling mullet to cover as much area as you can and to make your bait more visible. The typical flounder are running anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds. I've also got another great photo here of Allison Convoy, and she had a real nice pair of summer flounder that she caught aboard the Fishing Holland and fishing in the St. Augustine. Great job, Allison. Also, the sea trout. If you know the area well and, you feel comfortable that you can get out and run at night, then hit the docks after midnight for the best trout bite around. The night fishing in our area is best in the St. Augustine areas. They have great water quality, great lights. Palm Valley and the St. Johns River in the Jacksonville community. The best bite will be where the water's clear and the last of the flood and the first of the ebb tide. Use live shrimp under a float rig, or maybe you want to use an 1/8 or a 1/4 ounce hookup jig tipped with a Bass Assassin jerkbait, or maybe a paddle tail grub. The typical trout are running anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds.
Great report, Russell, from the Northeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northeast region inshore. Catch flounder in the creeks and under docks in 4 to 12 feet of water. Use live fingerling mullet or mud minnows. And then offshore, kingfish are on the reefs and wrecks in 75 to 80 feet of water. Troll live baits on the surface or on a downrigger, and with the downrigger. What that means, Bree, up here and then down below. So you have covering the water quality, water column perfectly. Nobody can talk.
I know, it must be in there or something. Okay, the reports are in and the tuna is biting, but when we come back, we'll be telling you what to expect for next week right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Yay!
Wandering out into this great unknown, and when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with all of our captains, contests, and appearances. You don't ever have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com where you'll find everything you need to know to stay connected. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we are talking amberjacks. Make sure to tune in to SunSports every Thursday. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for times.
Here, David, I'm imitating Brie in the Superfly commercial
Oh,
there
God.
for Facebook.
I didn't have my glasses, man.
You didn't have your glasses?
Thanks,
Bowl
guys.
Tyson's going to have to give me another pair.
God.
She hates that commercial.
I despise it so much.
She looks so good in it, though.
She
Oh,
does.
gosh.
She
You
looks
hear
good
that
in
buzzing
anything,
sound
though,
in the
man.
background?
Hey, I got my buddy here, David, and then over here in our live audience, we have his dad, Omar, and his mom, Monica. But behind them, we have a special person. We have Brie's mama and godfather and Uncle Albert. I get that right?
Yep, you got it right.
Tell me about the pageant.
Well, Rick, I had a great time last week at the Miss Florida USA pageant. Oh, that's
bikini
me.
shot. Oh boy. But hey, guys, you want to go see those on our Facebook page? Check out Brie.
Yeah,
And
well,
I missed that.
I placed top 16. Had a great time. That yellow dress my mama made.
Wow.
We're all wearing yellow.
Got talents running through her veins, Dave.
I had a great time, and now it's
Somebody's
back to
gotta have
fishing. Everyone's talking over me. My gosh. Whatever, I'm done.
Bye,
Good
guys.
night. See you guys next week.